So I just realized something important. You might not think it's important, but it doesn't matter if you think it's important. I think it's important. You know, the older my mom gets, she's not going to remember all this stuff. So if I'm the only one who remembers it, it's important that I remember it, okay? This is stained, so I bleached it. I found it like in a pile somewhere all gross, but I bleached it. I can't wear it out in public, but I can use it just as a different thing to wear in a video, And these, if you wonder where I got these when I was in that shelter. I had to have, I think, yeah, I got these when I was in the shelter. I had other kind, and then I found those too, but I lost them. I don't know. All I know is when somebody wanted me in flip-flops, I bought some at a dollar store because these were who knows where. You look through shit when you're trying to find shit, and you find shit. I have everything somewhere, okay? I even have really personal shit about my aunt that she shared with me when we were in our fucking pseudo-friendship, just like she got all kinds of personal shit in her brain about me, I'm not gonna say anything that I know or whatnot, I don't do that. I say against people if the way they are affects me, Well, things they do. Or if it proves what, that they're not the saints they're made out to be. Things like that, right? Anyway. I knew you were not going to make it. I knew you could have your drops in your eyes. I knew you weren't going to make it. I knew it. So, little flip phone, it's running in a room, and not surprisingly, people get pissed when they can't text me, but I text them. Oh well. I thought it was about time I deleted, but I'm saving it. Old text from my aunt when we were in our pseudo-friendship after that whole court thing miraculously ended in our favor. Remember, I joined forces with my not lifelong, way back when, but when I was young, we got along. But my long-time enemy, I joined forces with my aunt to save my mom, but don't make no mistake, it was to save my aunt too, okay? Let's just not even sugarcoat that shit, or, let's not forget that. Let's not pretend that's not the truth. Some of you know, some of you don't. Doesn't matter. What matters is this. I pride myself on, in my brain, remembering, maybe not exact details, not exact dates, but at least the chronological order of all these hospitals my mom has been in, okay? Over these past several years, that my mom's life, my life, and my aunt's life were undeniably intertwined, okay? Over these past several years, okay? And I was thinking all along, I know that, how many times my mom was in that certain hospital. And apparently there was another time, because I just went back through these old texts. Remember, I thought I knew the chronological order. I just went back through these old texts from my aunt that were back after we won that, went through that 7 months of Allen, won, family versus the stay whatever we wanted by the skin of our teeth. But it should have never been in the first place. That's the whole thing. They did not even remotely play by the rules or fair or legal or whatever. I might have found that out later on. It didn't matter because I don't know, I was not strong enough to handle any of that shit, and it took its, it was I'm not going to go through more court shit, even if we would win possibly, or she would have to do it. So it doesn't matter. Fact is, never should happen in the first place. We won in the end because it never should have happened in the first place. But think of all the money they got for those 7 months putting us through absolute hell. I'm looking at old texts. I hate this. It doesn't even date them. I mean year. It just says the date, not the year. I have to rack my brain and figure out the year, which I can do, of course. We all know that I can do that. I have all this. But I'm remembering when Man and I were in our pursuit of friendship. There was stuff going on in her life. I don't know that she and I ever visited my mom. Now I remember I went with the church woman that one time. This is that same hospital that the first time the doctor was awesome. My mom was only in there like several days. Only slightly more than this last time. But she was in a hospital this last time, not that long. But this particular hospital was when I loved that doctor because she at least didn't believe in over-medicating. She believed in patients, not just my mom, any patient not being on it. She didn't believe, because I asked her, I'm like, no one's ever done this before. I'm kind of in shock and in awe of you. She doesn't believe in putting anybody on more than one antipsychotic. Meanwhile, we've gotten other doctors who have no problem putting my mom on 3, But it was an experiment that failed. It wasn't enough. And then I wanted her back in that same hospital that she wanted to get sick later. But they said that she didn't really have the insurance. That was all confusion too, because it wasn't true. And that's when she went back in that hospital. But there's an in-between time, another time. Because another time she was at this hospital is when they fucked up big time. And discharged her in the worst condition I or a friend anyone had seen her ever discharged, and 2 days later she had to be hospitalized again. There was another time, I guess, that she was in there as well, that it slipped my mind. And that was when, was the time that she came home almost a month later, and had to be right back in the hospital. That was the time nobody visited her. I couldn't get there. Nobody could bring me. Nobody visited my mom. Was it before or after the ending of our routine? So one of these hospital visits of my mom is missing in my brain. Or at least was until I, sparked it by looking at these old texts. And I just looked at a number Aunt had given me, and I called it, and I'm like, okay, I don't remember that, but that is where she was. I know the first time she was in there. I know the time she was in there that nobody visited her. So there was first time she was in there, no one needed to visit her. She was in there such a short amount of time. That wasn't this time, I don't think. No, it couldn't have been. She was only in there a short amount of time. They discharged her immediately. I don't think they couldn't have committed her. They don't commit. I have a text from Auntie, your mom was committed. You don't commit somebody immediately. They don't ever commit someone immediately. Confusing. I should just have a write to all these hospitals and request her medical records. Usually you have to know the date you were in there. Of course, I have all my old calendars. I told you I keep calendars. The way that Kavanaugh said he kept calendars. So that should tell me too. I know that first time she was not committed. They don't commit someone a few days after they enter. Plus I can go by these dates on here where it says your mom went to the hospital, and I know, and that's how I figured it out, because she mentioned where we were going to visit my mom, or where we were going. Auntie and I never visited my mom there because she wound up having a situation in her family, and we went and got my mom though. I do remember that, because I left my water behind, and I was in a hurry, and we were all leaving, and she wouldn't let me get my water, and then I was dying of thirst. But I know the time, that same hospital, my mom was discharged in the worst condition I'd ever seen her. I was the one on conference calls with doctors and case managers, social workers, whatever, even though Auntie was the health, you know what I mean? I'm the one, that's why I know all this shit. I'm the one who's dealt with it. I'm the one who's handled it, regardless of whether or not I was the official healthcare proxy. It made no difference. I'm the one, and it needs to be remembered. We all know my mom's not going to remember any of it. Which would be a good thing, except in this life, and I'm not going to elaborate. I'll keep it vague. But we all know people who don't actually know shit start assuming or making shit up in their heads. Okay? Say new people to her life, You don't know shit. My mom's not going to tell you shit simply because it's too painful, or more likely she just can't remember it all, which is a good thing, because then she blocks it all out, whereas it plagues me continuously, right? But it's a bad thing when it comes to people who are just going to reach their own conclusions, who don't know shit about anything, literally. Ignorant motherfuckers who don't know shit about anything. And that could be a brand new professional in my mom's life, or it could be a brand new friend. Doesn't matter. All, Even if my mom sits down with therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, or whatever, but if she doesn't remember anything, they're not going to know shit. You understand? Do you guys realize I'm the only one in this life who truly, truly, truly knows every fucking thing that's happened to my mother? Everything. You can say, well, that would be the case with most people in your position. No, it wouldn't. There's tons of people either wouldn't be able to remember at age 50 anymore. You know what I mean? Don't tell me people don't start. People are going to have to start. I documented it all. But don't tell me everybody would be the same. They wouldn't. They would not. There's a lot that just wouldn't care, wouldn't bother to remember, wouldn't, My mom's been through hell and back. She was starting to write her autobiography. I'm talking going way, way back, stuff that I didn't know. And then she lost the notebook. But what she read to me was good, you know. I told you she taught me things that she shared with me things I didn't know about my father and her, which he had done, you know what I mean? I'm not going to know what happened before I was born or when I was a baby unless my mom tells me. I just was trying to get these off because I have texts that are in limbo, you know, they're in queue. And it says, memory full, erase text messages, read new messages. There are no new messages. They're in queue until I erase messages. And why I don't feel like, there's messages I don't feel like reading that are newer messages. I don't feel like erase, but I should, you know, ones from years ago, I should get them onto USB camera memory and save them and get them off my phone. I don't need messages from years ago that my aunt sent to me. But they're in my inbox and they're taking up room. Last time when my mom was sick, the church woman was like, don't text me unless I can text you back. I only text you when my mom, I know she's saying stuff to you that isn't even remotely the truth. No. I have enough people in her life think of things that are true. You know, I can at least have you knowing both sides. We're doing all right. It's well to be expected, you know. She's like, I'm like, Mom, I hurt my foot. I'm trying to do other shit. Okay. Like, find your probably non-existent tax things, which we need even to get back to do fuel assistance. Because believe it or not, even all our combined incomes, my impoverished and hers, you know, more money that, you know what I mean? But it still doesn't reach the amount that is the cutoff point for fuel assistance, i.e., you can make that much and still get fuel assistance, which only proves to me that whatever. The cost of living is sky high, and what I think of being we can't get fuel, we actually could, but I never applied for it, and it's all changed, you know. It's going to be all changed as she moved back in here, and before she was not living here, but it was her home that I was living in, so she's viewed as my landlord, but she was, you know, I'm paying everything else, but she was still paying the rent. Anyway, I don't even know, like I said, if we even got those. I told you, her landlord was not inclined to do the right thing and just put stuff in a nice safe envelope. He forwarded shit and didn't even put the right address on half the time. The only reason we got it is because the postman remembered my mom from before and gave her mail. She needed to get out of that place. She belongs in her own home. Unless there should come a time that she wants to not be in here, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean we belong here together, more to the point that I belong here. But she definitely belongs here. It's not like that apartment was wonderful. You know, set aside the money she's saving by being back here in her own home. Let's just set that completely aside. The apartment was not even remotely wonderful, as some of you are aware of me periodically bitching about. I don't even know if this is filming. I might be talking about nothing, which really is annoying. I'm not, but you know if this runs out, I won't have the video, so I'm not going to risk it. I will just say, in conclusion, mouse situation, I'm handling it. And by handling, I mean I'm ignoring the guy, but we don't owe him shit, okay? He sent stuff into my email. I hurt my foot. I wanted to print out the stuff. I don't want to just be looking at it in my email. I want to show my mom what he said, you know. This is her thing she's doing. Again, we have different people saying different things we should do, but the thing is, and then my mom was saying, we had some hamburger, it fell on the stove, it was a big chunk of it, so I put it in the bowl for the mouse instead of wasting her cereal, because remember, my mom's let me sleep in her bed for a couple of days. She gets up early and goes places, and I could just sleep there with the earplugs, and I'm dead to the world, I don't hear anything, but, I mean, I'm not going to take over her bed. It's just while my foot was healing, you know, just for a couple of days. But she doesn't want to think about that mouse running around. And the first night she slept 2 nights ago, the mouse was in. She's like, feed it, all right? We're going to, whatever you call it. I compared it to the, you know, I'm joking around to the mafia, you know, the storefronts, the businesses have to pay so they don't get, you know, roughed up. They have to pay whatever that's called. Well, we had to feed the mouse on the counter. Well, last night instead of wasting cereal, I had hamburger. And I put it in the bowl. And then I falsely accused my mom. I'm like, why'd you take that out of the bowl and put it over there? She's like, I didn't do it. I'm like, oh my God, it was a big piece. I didn't break it up for the mouse because I thought maybe I could catch it eating it there. No, it dragged the piece over to there. And then I realized that and then I put it back in the bowl. And then it came out again and dragged it halfway. So I'm like, oh, it wasn't my mom. Not that I really thought she did it, but it was like, I didn't imagine the mouse would drag it. And no, oh yeah, it was eating that, but it didn't, it couldn't, it was too big to get to take down in the stove crack or whatever, so it dragged it. I wish I'd seen it. I wanted to film it. That's why I had the big piece. I wanted to see what it would do. You know, and I put it back in, but it gave up eventually. In the morning there was still stuff there. It gave up because twice I moved it. It had moved it all the way to the wall, and I moved it back. Then it had moved it halfway, and I moved it back, so. And I joke with my mom, and I'm like, yeah, the mom's mad at me. I keep moving the big lump of hamburger that we would have thrown away, you know, and it doesn't know what's going on, so it gave up. Proof it gave up, there was still some in the bowl. Overnight, the next morning, it didn't come back for the rest. It gave up. Plus, I had the spoon so I could know what was in there, and it probably got scared by the spoon, too, making the noise, but. And then my mom's like, well, I don't want to get rid of them. I'm like, you're not serious, right? She's like, oh, I don't know. She's like, I'm getting used to it now. No, you're not. It has diseases, Mom. You can't keep the mouse, you know. But that doesn't mean we have to do the industrial strength, you know, go overkill and get the maintenance program for like close to $1,000 a year. It's something a month. It averages something a month, but I don't think you pay by the month. You have to pay up front, and they give you the average of what it costs. I haven't looked at the plan, all right? I've been doing other shit, and that was sent in my email, all right? But the trapping thing, the verdict's out. I mean, the verdict's still out. You know, we haven't met anybody except the person who's going to get the, you know, the company that's going to get the money, who think we should do that trapping thing that costs around $800. But they're going to do it, they're going to come, and that's why I haven't contacted them. As I told my mom, we have to plan this. I didn't plan on injuring my foot. I realized what it is. It was laced, the laces were laced too tight. And then I tried walking around over 5 miles with them probably too loose. And plus I was drinking, so it didn't help. But I didn't trip over anything. It just, this foot is the one I broke 2 summers ago on the top. And I feel it sometimes. It's a weaker foot, you know. It's been weeks since I broke it. And maybe that's common with people. But anyway, I don't want this video to go away, so I'm going to shut it off because, you know, unfortunately with this camera, unlike my cheap old camera, if it shuts off on its own, if camera battery runs out, the video's gone, even if it's a whole 28 minutes. You know, it'll go 29 minutes, so got to shut it off.